Normally, her Tourette syndrome was simply something she lived with. She accepted who she was and tried not to worry about the things she couldn't control. But in this battle of wills, it mattered very much to her. Nod, grunt, blink. Reginald smirked, as if he'd won some unspoken contest. And maybe he had, Ellie thought ruefully. "We can talk afterward," Ellie said, trying to reestablish her authority. "It's opening night. Let's give them one they'll remember." He cut her with his eyes a few seconds more, then turned sharply and strode away. Ellie watched him go. Tonight was the first performance of the theater's production of Murder in a Teacup. Publicly, she'd made the usual noises about how enjoyable the experience of producing the show had been, but she would be relieved to see it wrap up. It had, in fact, been a miserable experience, and the reason was walking away from her as she spoke. Reginald started through the side door that led backstage, pausing long enough to say, "It is always a show to remember when I'm involved, you twitchy bitch." And then he was gone. Ellie's face flushed, her mouth a thin, bloodless line. She heard her costume mistress, Dana Nugent, mutter from behind the ticket counter, "Miserable prick." Ellie let go of the stranglehold on her tics, and they owned her for a few painful seconds. She sighed, and once again questioned the casting decisions of the director, Marilyn Chambers. Ellie wished she had stepped in as the owner of the Kaleidoscope Theater and vetoed Marilyn's choice of Reginald as the star of this show. But theater owners who second-guess their directors develop bad reputations. She took a deep breath, held it, and then she felt calmer. She picked up her phone and fired a quick group text to the rest of the cast and crew. "He's here." Chapter 2. Jerry Moynihan got the text too late to avoid his nemesis. He knotted his bow tie for the 5th time, staring at it, tugging the sides, then pulling the knot loose and starting over. He tried to get the top of each end level with the other, and failing to do so with small tugs, finally gave up and pulled the damn thing apart to start yet again. He ran through his lines in his head, his mouth moving, silently rehearsing the words. This show was taxing, and each night his routine never strayed, including disconnecting from every little ping and distraction. He placed his phone in airplane mode, as they always did before shows, and focused on getting into character. Every fragment of his concentration currently focused on the bow tie. He caught his reflection in the mirror and frowned. He didn't have leading man looks. His face was too long, his mouth was too wide, and his ears were too small for his head. Laugh lines pulled at the sides of his mouth, and his hair showed the beginnings of salt and pepper coloring. What did you expect for 44? But his eyes were still young, a deep blue, almost a royal blue, and bright, easily his best feature. The new frown line between his bushy eyebrows, which drew attention away from his best feature, made him irrationally angry. He yanked the tie out again, looking at his feet and shaking his head. Deep breath. You can do this, he thought. It had been a trying production. He'd started doing theater almost by accident 14 years ago, when his then-girlfriend had dared him to audition for 12 Angry Jurors. Surprising them both, he landed a part, and had been hooked ever since. Some roles had been better than others. Some productions were rocky, and some ran smoothly. But none had ever been like this one. Shit show in a teacup, as he had come to think of it. An infection in the production, an infection known as Reginald Thornton IV, had spread misery among the cast and crew. An infection nothing could alleviate. Well, almost nothing. When he looked up again, the mirror reflected a florid-faced man showing a repugnant smile. Jerry jumped and gave a little cry, inwardly cursing how he sounded. He tended to be jumpy by nature, and this asshole Reginald loved it. Jerry turned away from the mirror to face the pestilence. "Very masculine, Jerry," Reginald said, his voice rich and warm as he spoke, in the slow, deliberate manner of a veteran stage performer.